Video today. Today is lots of videos today, huh? Okay, so I am installing Antora, which is a Node application for converting ASCII doc and serving it up, in sort of a make docs way, if you know what that is. Um, and I ran across yet another reason to complain. It's if I need more reasons, right? But I would be, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It would be actually irresponsible for me to not call this out. Okay. There's got to be somebody who calls out these absolutely horrible things that people do. And I'm going to throw the Node NBM team under the bus on this because this is absolute bullshit. And for the next 10, 15 minutes is going to be me ranting about the NBM installer code following the official source and what you're supposed to do. And I'm going to call it out and I'm going to show you why. And then you can make your own determination. You can say you're full of it. Why are you so pedantic about that? That's fine if you want to do that. But I want you to know about it because if you actually ask somebody to do what I'm about to show you and you don't understand the implications and you think it's fine to write that in an installer without doing it, you might end up not getting a job. Because if I or anybody in my ilk were vetting you to see if you were good enough to work for us, if I saw you doing this, I would immediately dismiss your application out of hand, and I would be like, this person literally has no concept of shell security. So please pay attention, and you can tell me that I'm full of crap in the comments below if you want to. That's fine. I've been told I'm full of crap about a lot of things, but you have to understand, I was raised in a time when we actually overrode the path environment variable at the beginning of a shell script for safety in order to ensure that nobody could automatically spoof the path and put stuff in ahead of the other path. So I am coming from a much more paranoid world, right? But in our world, doing this, and I wrote it in my little installer script, and we'll have a talk about that, about why you should do that. So this is a very basic bash script. So the whole user bin env I think is insecure too, but we won't talk about that. I'm grabbing the latest release straight up from the API and then putting that into a curl. And many of you will know this. This is something a very common idiom. It's called I think they call it curl pipe bash. And ask anybody who's in security about curl pipe bash, right? Curl pipe bash is a horrible idea. This is a script of me doing what I'm told to do, and to be completely fair to the author of the tutorial on DigitalOcean, which, by the way, has really great tutorials for the most part. This particular tutorial goes through 3 different ways to install it. Using apt install and then using NVMe, which is a Node version manager, which you have to generally have if you want to have different projects with different versions of Node, just like Python or Java or any of the other things that have that problem. Which is not a problem for compiled code, by the way. I was going to put it out there. One of the reasons that compiled code out, that compiled, so one of the main reason that Go and Rust and programs of that type and languages of type are so popular right now is because you get a compiled binary and there's no version management because it doesn't matter. It's already been compiled in it. This is why using an interpreted language in 2024 is usually going to put you on the defensive, because you're going to be like, why are you doing that in 2024? And I'm not just talking about garbage collection and speed and compilation time and all the other jazz. I'm talking about just having a binary that freaking runs that I can package and give to you. That's a separate rant all by itself. So let's go back to the topic. So if you have NVMe installed, which you should do, you should never install any Python without using the Python virtual environment, and you should never install in 2024 any Node thing without using a Node version manager, because you never know what version you're going to use. And unless you're putting it in a container, if it's on your desktop system, you don't want to force your entire system to one specific version, because there's a really strong chance you're going to need multiple versions for different things. So you should always use a Node version manager or a Python version manager, okay? So we read down here on the instructions. Lots of good stuff here. And again, to the credit of the author, I don't know who this is who wrote it. They said here, make sure you download and read the install script and see if you agree with everything in it, which is what got me on this rant, because we're going to do that together right now. Review the script to make sure you're comfortable with the changes it is making. And when you're finally comfortable, go ahead and pipe it to bash. So I don't know this, but I feel like that entire paragraph was added after the fact. Because the general regular way to, you'll read this on Stack Exchange all the time. And now I'm telling you, my friends, never pipe stuff from the internet into Bash. Do not curl pipe Bash. If you curl pipe Bash, bad things will happen. You'll get fired. You'll probably get divorced. Your house will crash. I'm telling you, you'll knock your teeth out. Bad things will happen to you. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't ever do that. Okay? Do not pipe to Bash. It is a bad idea. Really bad idea. Why is it a bad idea? Because you don't know what's in it. You don't know what's in it. And don't even get me started on NPX, which is this absolute batshit stupid technology from the Node community that will run stuff directly from the command line. Do you know how many people were using NPX to just look? I can still show you. I'm going to show you right now. I did it just to show how stupid it is. NPX, Rabma, I think it is. I don't even want. We'll do a separate thing on NPX. We'll do a separate thing on NPX. NPX is basically even worse than Bash, than piping to Bash, because it's running it directly straight off the thing. This is the reason the biggest internet worm, the largest security vulnerability ever to be released from any library system came from Node. Because there's absolutely no checking of the packages. There's no validation of the people. There wasn't when it came out anyway. And your people are regularly encouraged to not even check the stuff and just add it in. Thank God that, things like Go and Rust and everybody else have woken up. That one of the things that scares me the most about Rust, honestly, is one of the main things is that most of the Node leadership are in the Rust community now. So anyway, back to here we go. So if you think this is a good idea, piping into Bash, bad idea. Now, the thing that's really crazy about this, and I'm about to show you, this is all right. So we did the right thing. We downloaded the file in order to see what's in the file, and I downloaded the file into foo.sh. Okay, and so this is the content of the file. All right, and I'm gonna actually comment on everything that's wrong with this file and some of the stuff that's right. So the first thing that's right is they actually ran shell check on the file. Thank God for that. Right? So if you're writing code in 2024 and you're not running shell check on it, you're a bad person. You are. You should reevaluate your life priorities and learn to shell check. And this line here is completely retarded and stupid, but I get it why they do it. This is forcing the entire program into a subshell just to be sure the whole file is downloaded. I don't have enough words to describe how stupid that is. First of all, I just don't, and they could have put some, what is it, -X or I, one of the ones that tells it not to run if it encounters an error, but they didn't do that. They did this stupid hack. So anyway, this is a horrible idea. Don't do that. Don't do that. They only did that because they're planning on having the thing downloaded and run from Bash, and that's how we'll keep going. So they're doing has, which is fine. I use this quite a bit as well. The truth is that a better has function would be the command -v instead of type. Well, no, that's not true. That would make sure it's an actual command. So type that. I do this all the time. That's good. They're checking to see if it exists, and they have their version of echo because they want to print with proper line returns, and that's cool. Okay, first stupid thing. If you're writing Bash code, I'm going to say this again. If you're writing Bash code and you're not using double brackets, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Single brackets in Bash code, which exist all over the place, while they're supported, they are effectively deprecated and they are much less secure. So don't do it. Don't do it. Use double brackets. Use double brackets. They're easier. They're safer. They do less other stuff. And they'll make your code look like Bash code. All right? Don't use single brackets. Some people who use single brackets think that they're going to make that code compatible with POSIX shell and it's going to work out better. Fine. No, just don't. Just use double brackets. I'm telling you, do it. Okay, back to the thing. There we go. So install these error instructions explicitly. So this This one is really weird to me. Um, this paragraph right here, this segment of code, specifically says if you're trying to run the script from the command line, fail. And watch, this is like insane. Yeah. Oh wait, it did it. It didn't even catch it. Oh god. Just trying to update using get. No, I don't want to do that. RMSRF. Okay, I gotta get some stuff out of here. Believe me, we're gonna get there. If yeah, I kind of spoiled what's coming up. So, yeah, yeah. Did it do its thing too? Oh, god damn it! Pretend like you're not seeing this part. Pretend like you're not seeing it. Look away. Look away. We're not. We haven't got there yet. Okay. Yeah, you're like what? But yeah, I know. We're gonna talk about it. I promise. Um, it was not supposed to run. I was supposed to catch it not running. Okay, one of two things is happening there. This little code to catch it so that it doesn't run from the command line failed. Uh, or it's expecting us to schmod the thing. That paragraph just demonstrates how little they know about shell. Anybody who does a shell script might just do dot slash instead of like schmodding it or schmoxing it. What's schmox? Schmod plus X. That's all. Fox. No. Boo. That was stage. All right. So I want to see if that code catches us. No. It didn't. It didn't catch it. What the fuck is the code there for then? Okay, so I take it all back. The code is so bad they don't know it doesn't run. Either that or I am missing something really big. Yeah. Yeah. Look, somebody's out there is going to say this guy doesn't know what he's doing, and you would be right. But the point of this is, okay, so I'm downloading this. What the hell is this even doing? Then somebody's scratching my door. Is that the dog? If the bash version or there's no version of ZCell version, then I think this is because it's being called from a script or something. I don't know. I can't even think of a situation. I have no idea what they're trying to do on that level. Maybe who knows? This is how backdoors are getting past people. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. NVMe grep, whatever that is, right? So this is called short circuit logic. I'm pretty sure the short circuit logic is wrong. Anytime you mix an or and an and, that is probably not doing what they want. Yeah, you know why I know that? Because I have an XDG config home. Yeah, this code is dead wrong. I just don't even because I have one. I didn't even see that one before. Oh my god, do these people not test their code? Come on, Rob. I want to be wrong on this. Please let me be wrong on this. I really want to be wrong. XDG underscore config. Whoops, config. Oh, maybe I don't have one. Isn't it the default? Do I need to start setting XDG config home by default? I thought it was set automatically. I guess it's not. I could have swore XDG config home was set automatically. I guess it's not set automatically anymore. I'm gonna okay. That's on me. So, yeah. Because normally you should have that. I'm gonna actually add one. I'm gonna add one right now. Yeah, I'm gonna add it to my bash RC. Actually, yeah, let's do that. XDG config home. I can't believe I have to define it. I thought it was defined to be the default. Oh, so okay. So if those of you who don't know about XDG config home, it's like the new standard place to look for home stuff. But the algorithm is supposed to be check if XDG config home exists, then check if the environment variable exists and use the environment variable to override its default location and then install it. Instead, the node stuff is assuming that if I don't have the environment variable, it's going to put an NVMe, and that is not how XDG config home is supposed to work, which is why I have not defined it in my bash RC. Having to explicitly define it in your bash RC is not required. It's not. It's supposed to be the default location, and there, if it exists, you're supposed to use it. And if xdg config in home is defined, it's supposed to use it as an alternative to the default. But this node script is assuming that it has to be there. I'm not going to screw up my bash RC just because I don't fucking know how to do xdg config, which you can go look up. I'm not going to screw it up. This is wrong. This is wrong. You're supposed to look for the default xdg config home. I'll prove it to you. What is xdg, which by the way is built in to Go if you use the right user config. In fact, let's do that. Let's do go doc user dot something. And there it is, current user. Let's see, look up. Let's do user. Oops. What was it? I promise this is going to have a point. But we're hopefully this will be useful. So, did I do user.user? Yeah. I think it's probably in the OS thing. I can't remember where it is. You don't want to use user.home directory. That's wrong. So I'm in Go right now. So I'm pretty sure it's OS get user. There it is. User config directory. See that right there? User config directory. I mean, I'm showing you this because I want you to see that this is how the standard has been defined for xdg config. Maybe I have it wrong, so I'm also checking myself here. User configure returns the default root directory for use to user specified configuration data, which is usually tilde slash dot config. 9 times out of 10. On Unix systems, it returns the xdg home config environment variable as specified by the specification, which we will open up. If non-empty, else home.config. On Darwin, it returns blah, blah, blah. So this is following the algorithm that I would expect things to do, right? It says if there's an environment variable, use that. If there's nothing there, then use home.config. That is how you're supposed to do this. That is not what this bash thing does. That is not what it does. This bash thing does, if it's defined, use it. Otherwise, completely throw the configuration standard out the window and use .nvm instead. And so it says if it's there, then use that /nvm. Otherwise, don't. What this algorithm should do right here is it should do this, or the default should be .config /nvm if they are going to pretend to support the xdg config home standard. So that was a lot that you didn't need to hear. We're still going to get to the most egregious sins in this script, which give me a second, I'll get there. So install directory, fine. You don't need this, by the way, if you're on any systems that got make -p, which they could have checked for. It has the version hard coded as opposed to having it in a constant, which is totally stupid. NVMe profile is bash or Z shell. This, I don't want to even talk about this logic. It's like, it's just telling you if you have bash or Z shell, that's it. But you could use bash or Z shell without having those things in your profile, and you'd be fine. But that's what they're doing there, more or less okay. And here's where things get kind of interesting. Get the GitHub repo, it's looking it up. I am kind of impressed with their use of parameter expansion, which normally you don't see in shell scripts these days. A lot of people don't know about it. This is so stupid, I don't even want to talk about it. I mean, NVMe echo, and then they're running the output of cat, which is just so stupid. You could have done a less than, and then I don't want to. No, we're gonna keep moving on. No. Their output. I think it's because they're catting this stuff right here instead. Yeah, I mean, this stuff is like not dangerous. It's just stupid. And okay, this thing where it gets really bad. We're gonna get down to this stuff. Okay, so they check to see if you have curl, and if they have curl, whatever. And Then they check to see if you have wget instead of curl. I suppose that's fine. That's kind of cool, actually. Um, they're running sed to do the progress bar and change it all up. Um, I'm just looking at this here. Huh. What are they doing? They're modifying the arguments so that they work with wget instead of curl. Wow. Why? But okay. Um, oh, and then they're doing an eval. Yeah. They're evaling wget. I know it's insane. If somebody else thinks it's kind of insane, I I don't have words for even to talk about this. And part of me is impressed, and the other part of me is like, what the fuck is happening? That is not that I just why? Not to mention it's a subshell. I just have no words for that. Of course, they had to turn off their they had to turn off their shell checks to say, hey, you can't eval stuff. It's a bad idea, especially with a bare argument. Especially since they didn't need to do any of that. All right. Why are we looking at the script? We're looking at the script because the tutorial told us to make sure that it was something we were okay with running on our system, even though it's only running as my user ID and not root. It's still something worth looking at. And there's so many strikes against this script. I'm like, I don't think I ever want to run you on my machine. How else am I going to get NVM installed? Oh, sucks to be you. You have to do apt install if you want it instead. And frankly, I think you should probably trust apt install. It's one of the reasons I like it over Arch because the Arch user repository, as free as it is, it doesn't have any vetting whatsoever. It's bad enough that stuff makes it into APTs. But at least there's some level of vetting process for things that go into the package repository for whether it's APT or RPM or something like that. There's at least a minimal amount of vetting before it makes it into a standard repo, as opposed to something you have to add a PPA for. In the case of APT, if you don't know what any of that means, don't worry. But that's my thought on that. The thing that's so funny up here is that there's this whole thing about finding the parent directory, and then they use make-p. So it's like, well, why are you trying to figure out about the parent directory? I don't get it. Anyway, you can't use make-p on anything but bash or k shell, I think, because -p is not supported as POSIX. It's not POSIX. It's one of the many things you'll get burned on. Sed-i is not a POSIX thing as well. There's a number of things that people think are POSIX, and then they get on something like a Mac and it doesn't work, and you're like, why the hell isn't it working? Because you're not doing it right. So command git, and we're going to skip over these. These are all. So what this thing is doing is it's basically git cloning it into a temporary location, and then it's installing from there. And that's all something you could do by yourself if you wanted to. And it's fetching it. It's all stuff that you could do yourself if you wanted to check out the Git repo. This installer is basically just a bunch of Git pulls and then and putting it to the right place where you want it to be, and then it gets rid of it all again. So, and here comes the installer, local version, install Node.js version control local blah blah blah. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the part that really made me want to make this video. It's obviously doing a lot of stuff here. It's not about trusting the script. It's about trusting the source of the script. That part I do agree with. It is about trusting the source of the script, but that indirectly implies you trust the creators of the script itself to know what they're doing. And I've been burned by this many, many, many times. And the short story, if you're going to the end of the video, anytime you see code like this, anytime you see code that is going to change your bash RC file, run for the hills, because any team that thinks it's okay without any input from you to mess with your profiles, your dot files on your behalf to help you out, any team who thinks that's okay is dangerous. In fact, let me say this again nice and close. Any team and any script that thinks it's okay as a part of the installer to automatically modify your dot files is somebody you want to avoid. You want to avoid them like the plague, especially if they're not even asking you. This is one of the most dangerous, horrible ways that you'll end up ruining your day. At the very least, because you're a responsible person, you've been saving your dot files in some centralized configuration, and now they've just changed something. Many times they won't even tell you they've changed something. Now, to their credit, they do here. But when somebody's going to change your dot files, you need to know because you need to save that commit. And by the way, what happens when you run it again on accident because you forgot you have it? Yeah. Do you think they're going to detect that you have it already in your dot files? 9 times out of 10, no. And we're going to find out if they do here. I actually think they do. But, most of the people that write this kind of crap don't think about that. They're like, oh, we're going to help the user out by modifying their bash RC file. The better thing to do here is to tell the user to go modify their bash RC file and what needs to change. The Rust installer messes with your dot files. It just proves everything I've ever thought about Rust. Yeah. It's like the level of hubris saying nothing should ever change your config files ever. That is such a bad thing. People regularly, it's assuming that you're an idiot and you don't know how to maintain your own dot files. Oh, I'll help you out because you don't know how to do it. If you're programming in Rust and you don't know how to update your config files and your dot files, and you don't have your dot files on some sort of Git management, and you're not going to be annoyed by the fact that they're going to screw with your files instead of telling you how to screw with your own files, then yeah, they're wrong. They're wrong. They're dead wrong. And I'm going to go to the grave on this. I hate these programs that think that they're smarter than me and that they can like mess with my dot files. And if you don't and you think it's fine, great. But I am not that person. So let's actually go run it so I can end this rant because I'm running out of air. So I went to go write my own installer. So let's actually run the installer. And we're going to pipe the bash the way they told us to do. And it's going to tell me about all the stuff. People, Rob, you need some beer. Compressing and cleaning up the Git repo, appending NVM source string to bash RC. So as I said, they at least informed you that they're doing that. Appending bash completion source string to bash RC. Close and reopen your terminal to start using NVM and run the following command. Now, the fact that they're telling you to do that and that they don't know that you can do bash. The fact that they're telling you to do that, they don't know that you can do you can exec bash -l and git reload your terminal. If they're so good at handling the bash RC file and they don't know to tell you to do exec bash -l instead of restarting your terminal, yeah. So what do I have now? Now I have an NVM dir, so I can say which NVM is probably going to not even find it. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It's nvm.sh. You kidding me? It's actually an sh file? Please tell me it's not. Oh, my God. If it's an sh file, I'm going to lose it. What's in my .nvm directory now? Oh, right. Right, here it is. And oh my God. So they didn't put it in my bash directory. They didn't even try to put it. Oh, look, they didn't even try to look at my path and put it into my path directory. There's like a million things that look, if you're going to screw with my bash RC file, if you're going to mess around with my bash RC file and you think you're smart enough smarter than me, then why don't you at least look at my path and put the binary that's supposed to execute into a place that's actually going to execute? And by the way, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you putting .sh on the end of your binaries on a Unix system? I mean, do I have to tell you how stupid that is? Because as soon as you do that, you eliminate the ability to implement it in any other language ever. This isn't fucking Windows. This is Unix. All right. I got to calm down now. nvm.sh. Right? Oh, we're going to see what it is. Oh, is it this? Is it that? What is it? I don't know. Okay. NVM grep, NVM has, NVM blah, 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 blah. A bunch of unnecessary stuff. NVM command info. nvm get latest, nvm download. Oh my god. Thank God I looked through this because I am never using NVM again. I had to because of the Antora project, so I don't know. We'll see. But I can't even run the thing because it put it in some stupid ass brain dead location. You know, if it had put it in the right place, my path is intelligent enough to detect all the binaries under a certain location and put them in my path automatically. But they don't expect that. They expect me to be some script kiddie who doesn't know about how to maintain their bash RC file. And that would pretty much describe every Node developer. It was a joke. That part was a joke. I've met some really good Node developers who are not idiots, starting with TJ Holloway Chuck, who abandoned Node for Go, by the way. Anyway, there are still reasons to use Node, and I am a JavaScript fan. Not going to say I'm not. But yeah, so let's go. I want to actually run NVM here before we can get this to work. NVM dot NVM dot sh. I seriously, I don't look for shit to rant about, but when I find it, I'm going to definitely rant about it. Node version manager. Oh, how about a shebang line, my friends? Implement as a POSIX compliant function should work on sh-bash ksh z shell to use the source file from your bash profile. Oh, this is supposed to just be sourced from our bash RC? Are you kidding me? Why the hell would I source this from bash RC? Why would I unnecessarily load up my... Maybe it's because it's a subshell. Okay. So that would be the virtual environment part of it. Python does the same thing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. How come I can't just use NV? Oh, there it is. I found it. I take everything back I said about the .sh. It looks like they were just sourcing that. That was just getting input into my files. Let's do this. grep nvm. Let's do that. So nvm version, nvm directory .nvm. Okay, so that's good. That's good. But let's look at the bash rc file and see what it modified. I'm super glad we didn't have to run the .sh file, but the rant still stands. Okay, so they were just using that to load the file. And because it's being imported, I'm less judgmental. That's why I didn't have a shebang line. Okay, I take that back. That is a legitimate use of the suffix when you are using it as a library, is what they're doing. So, and they didn't have a shebang line, so that was premature criticism of that. That is a very legitimate use of it. Even if I don't want to source all that code every time. Bash completion, which you should have. But by the way, there's other ways to do bash completion by having a bash completion directory. Why would this? Oh, never mind. This is the bash completion that comes from the MVM directory. Again, I don't want them to tell me where to put the completion stuff because I have a section entirely dedicated to completion in my bash RC already. So now I have to go find their stuff and bypass it and put it in a different place. Whereas I could have put the completion stuff with the rest of the completion stuff in my own bash RC because that's what I manage. So, you know, if they'd given me the option of saying, hey, do your own thing, which, by the way, they do. But in order to do it, they don't tell you this. But if you define profile equals nothing, then they will deliberately not mess with your bash RC file. But they don't tell you that when you're doing the install. In fact, let's confirm that is true. I'm going to try that one more time. So where's my installer? I'm going to actually confirm what I said is actually true. Remove. I only found this out because I read the source code. So remove.nvm and all right, derp. All right, so let's try this. Let me make sure I get it right. So wait, where's the source code again? vi temp foo. Most people would never see this because they don't do this. They just pipe it to bash because they don't want to mess with it. Let's go find it. There's a section here that I found. I'll have to find it again. There we go. A test profile. Nope, that's not it. Here it is. Look at this. Detect profile if not specified as environment variable. Example, profile equals blah, 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 right? Profile obviously is a standard environment variable that all Unix systems have these days. Even if you have a bash_profile, you also generally have a profile. I make mine the same because I just don't want to have to deal with the extra file. Anyway, so the output path is guaranteed to be an existing file. Otherwise, an empty string is returned. So if there is a profile, if there's not a profile, let's see, what does that say? If an empty thing equals dev null, then the user has specified requested to not have NVMe touch their profile. So if you specify that your profile is dev null, it will not mess with your profile. Otherwise, it is. All right, let's check and see if that actually works. There's no way you would know that without reading the script. So let's actually do. If I was going to do, let me do the call. Yeah, nvm install nvm. Oh wait, install node. I have some stuff to add to the script, obviously. Let's do this. Profile equals dev null. All right. And actually, before we do this, well, let's do this one first and see what happens. And then let's do it twice and see if it sees the other one or if it just adds it again. Okay. So let's run it. /install node. Okay. It did not look like it ignored my bash RC. I must have. Did I do it wrong? Yeah, I did. All right. Well, let's test the other thing again. What happens if I run it twice? Oh, look at that. Wait, did it do two? Oh, good for them. That random gibberish. I want to see. I want to see if they're going to add it again. I have a feeling that good for them. If they did not, most of the time when you see, a lot of times when you see a script like this, it will happily add another one. I've had scripts that'll add like it just keeps adding them over and over again. So that at least saw the NVMe directory and did not add it again, which that's good. Good for them on that. But I'm still trying to figure out how to have it not mess with my directory. And every time I do this, I have to undo it again. Let's see, /nvm. And there's probably node experts out there going, oh my God, this guy's such a noob. I am a noob. But still, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You should not be messing with my profile. Why isn't this catching, by the way? What am I doing wrong there? Does anybody know? Any of my shell scripters out there? Is it should definitely be executing this code right here. Yeah. Let me try something else here. I wonder if I can just source this. Nope. I just wanted to source the functions. All right. Every time this happens, I have to undo it. Oh, God. PowerShell. What the hell? Go away. Go away. Love you, willfulness, but go away. Okay, so there's something not right here, possibly in my own stuff. Why isn't this matching? If the profile equals dev null, then whatever. I'm pretty sure I set profile to dev null. Did I do something wrong? You think PowerShell is better than Bash? Yeah, run along. We're gonna look for this one right here. So, what I'm not understanding is why there's actually a little piece of code in there that's got me extremely intrigued. I believe this code is not even working at all. So I'm going to test that code. I'm going to test that code because I have to know. I have to know. Shebang, shebang, bin bash. Yes, there's a way to reopen it. I don't ever remember it. Um, yeah. All right. So if profile equals null, then echo ignoring. All right. Uh, else echo not ignoring. All right. So temp bar. What? Oh, what? Oh, user bin bash. Fine. Actually, not ignoring. Uh, profile equals dev null. Ignoring. So I said X. No, we can do that next. That's a great idea, though. Set X, just in case anybody doesn't know, that turns on like really, really verbose logging of every single line. If you're ever debugging shell, you definitely want to do that. But I wanted to be sure that I was interpreting that line correctly, and I have just confirmed that by setting the environment variable in line, which is a regular thing, that's very, in fact, the Go binary depends on this for building, instead of arguments, which is always better. Environment variables are always better than arguments for most things like that, especially when they're integrated with other systems. So why is that a thing? Because as you saw, it's not working. And the reason it's not working is because it's a subshell. And they don't know that because they haven't tested it. So there's like an open bug in this software right now. Here it says detect profile, right? And it's not seeing the profile probably because of this. This initial thing that allows the script to download stuffs everything into a subshell, and the environment variables are not getting propagated to that subshell. I have a feeling. I don't know for sure. I'm just guessing. That's my first guess. So let's go test this because obviously you guys saw me do it. I set the profile and it went ahead and ignored. So even if you did the due diligence of looking at the script, right? And just for a minute here, this is the main installer script for the NVMe project. So if you think I'm being overly pedantic about analyzing every single line of the script and making sure it works and it's okay, I would take exception with that conclusion because this is the most important script that's going to run that your users are going to run. So you kind of owe it to the project and to everybody who's going to run your thing by piping into bash to make sure that, especially if you're going to touch their bash rc file, that the code that you put in there to ignore the profile and to not mess with it actually works. And it looks as of this moment that it's not working, not to mention the fact that it's not documented. So I think we need to go look for that. Maybe they expect you to do the export. I think they probably expect you to do an export, but that would just show how little they actually know about how shell works. Most people that are going to do those kind of things, they want to set a shell environment variable, and they should have it, propagate below. So, no, not going to buy it. Besides, as soon as I export profile equals dev null, it's going to break my shell because it needs it. The reason that the reason that I'm setting the profile on the same command line is because that environment variable only is supposed to work for the subshell for that command and everything under it. If I export it, then it's going to affect every single thing that ever runs from now on. That's why it's this idiom of like this pattern of defining environment variables on the same line is a thing. So you should just trust all of it. I have to use Node.js because I want to use Antora and it's written in Node, which now makes me question whether I want to use it, but whatever. Let's actually test that hypothesis. So let's put all this stuff in a script rather than breaking. We're gonna. I don't know how to even do this. I tell you what. Let's do this. Let's say install Node. So we'll make our own installer. We actually have the option of doing an export. This will, if nothing else, this will prove that it's doing that the subshell is the thing that's looking for, and they are not observing top level shells. Uh, oh no 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 no! Look at this. You know what? We could either do that or we could do this. Yeah, I had it wrong. I have to do this. Profile equals dev null. Let's try that one. Yep. Let's try that. Conversion of the can. No chance equals Rust. I have a feeling this one's going to work, actually. Yeah. Knock on wood, right? Did I already take it out? Yeah. This is a long video, but oh well. All right, so it's out. Let's try it. I have a feeling this one's going to work. And if this works, then it was definitely my bad. If this, well, I missed something really obvious, so I'm going to own how stupid I was there for a second. And you caught it, Ronnie. So good catch. I had forgotten that the whole pattern of setting an environment variable for the given executable only works for that executable. It doesn't propagate to the sub shells, and so the pipe doesn't get it. That environment variable, rightfully so, only worked for the first one. We even managed to touch on Rust. So yeah, so that was my bad on that one. Let's go ahead and yeah, I don't know why it's the pipe to bash. So this should actually work. This should actually work. Documented or not, this should actually work. But it's still, I mean, if this works, it's not going to touch my file. Appended the following. Oh, wait. See, now this is what I wanted it to say. See that? This is what it should have said. Profile not found. Tried as defined in profile. Blah, 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 blah. Well, that's misleading. Profile not found. Dev null. So because dev null is not a profile, because dev null is, what if I want my profile to be named dev null? Well, then you're too stupid. .bash rc bash profile z profile. Unless you have one of these profile files in your .profile, you're not a person. You could just undefine it, actually. Yeah. Let me do it again. If I one last thing, dash rf. I would never set my profile to dev null. That's completely stupid. I'm going to try to make it empty though. So I need to remove this, otherwise it's not going to run. All right, so let's try one more thing. Vi, let's make profile empty. That should do it. That should be enough. Wait. Remove space after equals empty string. Use var equals. Okay, fine. Thank you, shell check. All right, here we go. Touch the screen. Here we go. Ready to go. All right. That was not enough. That's kind of scary. That is pretty damn scary. You know what that means? That means that it assumed an empty profile. It assumed an... Oh, my God. I don't know what to say to that. I really don't. I don't know what you're saying. You're talking about Windows. All right. So, I mean, one last shot here. So, I assume it's anything that's not. I have to know why that code is failing. That this is like driving me nuts. Temp food sh. Dude, okay. Oh, here we go. Wait, what? No, this says. Wait, what? It must not have assigned it. It must not have assigned you know what? Their function's dead. The function that does the test profile assignment is actually if the profile is empty, it's doing something wrong because I'm overwriting the profile. Yeah. I'm going to show you. All right, let's try this next. Let's try something else next. First of all, none of this is documented. This is all just something you'd have to know by reading the code. So, whoops. Install node. I'm going to make it a dash. Let's make it a dash. Profile equals dash. Oh, let's see if this works. This should do it without installing it. Yay. Okay, so I don't have to do dev null. No, it did it. I did it. It has to be dev null. If it's not dev null, it automatically. Oh my god. Oh, I cannot believe how stupid this script is. Oh god. Thank you for the reminder never to do anything with Node. Oh my god, this is just so bad. I mean, morbid curiosity. Oh, well, there it is. Of course, I knew this the whole time. I'm being stupid. It was like right there in front of me the whole time. Because I kept thinking that I wrote the script and I didn't. The way to write this script is to let in the good stuff, not banish the bad stuff. You should have said NDA detect profile. If the profile is, they already did it. They already went through this big long ass like shell detection. They should have said, if it's one of these shells, then fuck with the profile. But if it's not, if it's anything else, don't touch it. That's what they should have done. I mean, that's how it should have been done. But instead, the only time it doesn't mess with your profile is if you explicitly set it to dev null and only dev null. That is ridiculously stupid. I have no words. I really have no words for that. It makes me wonder if I can't comprehend how dumb that is. Okay, so I mean that's pretty much it. And that's the end of this video. This only works if you do dev null. And even then, when you do dev null, it tells you a bunch of stuff that's really not true. It says here, profile not found, tried as defined in $profile. I tried these, which obviously it didn't because we told it not to. As defined. So this looks like somebody hacked in this parentheses thing. It's like tried as defined in profile. Blah, 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 blah. And profile. Create one of them and run the script again. Or append the following lines to the correct file yourself. NVM is already installed. Export NVM directory. Blah. And then it's like going to run the shell script. That's the normal thing. This is the piece that loads your NVM. So that whatever that's like Python. That's not unusual. Every time you log in, it automatically detects what your current virtual environment is, and that's why you have to make the changes to your bash RC file or to your RC file. So, I mean, if there is a program that is justified to mess with your RC file, one that's managing a virtual environment, is generally going to be the kind of thing that you would allow to do that. But I still stand by the thing. Run screaming from stuff that messes with your profile. Close and reopen your terminal to start using NVM to run the following now. Export, blah, blah, blah. This loads NVM. All right. So that's enough for this video. Just don't do it. You don't really need to ever mess with it. You really don't. You don't need to mess with people's bash RC files or RC files at all. And if you do, you should proactively ask them in advance, can we change your file? Because if you don't and you assume you can, you're going to end up ruining somebody's day and making them angry. And then they'll make a video about you. And then you can go yell at them for being, I don't know, security conscious.